let's be honest, nobody was calling out for another interpretation of the Hercules mythos. Besides, we already had one this year that was probably terrible, I didn't see it, and the definitive Ryan Gosling version, Young Hercules, from 1998.
Look out!
But here we are, Brett Ratner's Hercules, taking inspiration from the Steve Moore graphic novel Hercules, The Thracian War. The movie follows an established Hercules, played enormously by The Rock, having already elevated himself into legend status. Thankfully, this isn't a Hercules origin story, with the film picking up after the famed warrior seemingly completed his 12 labors, with him now spending his days roaming the land as a sword for hire. John Hurt's the King of Thrace then kicks off this latest chapter in Hercules' life, as he hires him and his expert band of warriors in order to assist him in defeating a powerful warlord. Quick side note, how long has John Hurt been 65 for? What, like 30 years? Going in, I really believed that I had this movie pegged. Looking at the trailers, I thought, yeah, I get it. Stabbings, gods, monsters or whatever, betrayal, extended bathing sequences. And although it does have a lot of this stuff, it's not in the ways that you may expect. That's why I'm surprised to report that I think Hercules is actually good? Maybe that could be put down to my low expectations, but from pretty much the get-go, right up to the shift in direction in the third act, I found myself enjoying this film. Without wanting to spoil why, this whole thing, it's just kind of fun, with an interesting tale to be told concerning the legend of Hercules and separating fact from fiction. Basically, the premise put forth here is less middle of the road in its execution than what I'm used to from Brett Ratner. Of course, with a project like this, it certainly doesn't hurt to have someone as engaging as The Rock on board. Such is the charisma of Dwayne Johnson that he's able to elevate a story like this to a whole nother level. It's not just his physique that makes him right for a role like this, he's just a very engaging screen presence. Much like Schwarzenegger in his heyday, except with better enunciation.
The Terminator, you almost ruined the signature line. I'll be back. What's that about?
Well, it was, I could not pronounce.
As for my rating, well, I'm afraid I've had to arrive at a worst movie ever. Simply because this would have been a much better film if The Rock was actually playing a time-traveling version of himself. Maybe the movie could have started in the present day with him touching a magic amulet in an antique store, causing him to go spinning through time. They could have even called it The Rock Rockets Through Time, Magic Amulet ? In all seriousness, this is a different and interesting take on the legend of Hercules than what we've seen before. I'm not saying bolt out and see it. It is certainly not perfect and kinda dumb. It's also a little rushed in the end, and the way that the fantastical elements are portrayed here will no doubt disappoint some. Plus the appearance of a second moustache-twirling villain late in the game just comes out of nowhere. But at the same time, I feel Brett Ratner has made his best film here since Red Dragon, and should be encouraged to continue to make movies like this. Plus, if he's doing things like this, Marvel and DC fans don't have to worry about him getting his hands on any more beloved, more well-known comic book properties. The internet is still banging on about his work on X-Men 3, but come on, give him some credit. It's not the worst X-Men film. Though to be fair, it is the second worst. Thanks everyone, don't forget new videos here every Thursday and Sunday. And check back in here this weekend for a Comic-Con wrap-up. Also, if you like, why not head over to iTunes for my podcast, The Weekly Planet. It's doing pretty well there, with last week's episode covering the best and worst of the Ninja Turtles and the supposed controversy around the new female Thor. You can find that linked below or at the terrific comicbookmovie.com. But what did you think of Hercules 2014 version 2? And if you haven't seen it yet, what do you consider The Rock's best role? Leave your thoughts below via my Twitter and Facebook pages, both ending in Mr. Sunday Movies, if you have anything that you'd like to say about that. Alright, thanks everyone, take care.